Welcome everyone. Today we are seeing day 2 of evaluating composite functions. So we're going to actually be now, instead of just replacing a number, you're actually going to replace a function. Just to review, yesterday we learned that the composition of a function f with g is defined by f of g of x. So both of these, both f of g of x, these two are the same thing. What you're basically doing is you are substituting the function g into the function f for the value of x. Okay? Or you could read it as g f of x, like in this second case. These two mean the same thing. So now let's look at some examples. So right here we have our first function. We have f of x is equal to 3x minus 4. And we have g of x is equal to x squared. And we have to find the following. In the first case, we're finding f of g of x. So what are we doing? We have our function g of x. We're going to focus on this first part. G of x. And so g of x is equal to x squared. So we found I'm going to end up having x squared. And now I am going to replace that function into f. So now I use my function f of x. And it's going to be x squared, right? So wherever I see an x, I'm going to replace it with x squared. Okay. And so if I'm solving for this function, I multiply 3 times x squared, which is 3x squared, and just bring down the minus 4. So f of g of x is equal to 3x squared minus 4. Okay, now let's solve for g f of x. So we're looking now at our function right here, f of x, and we have that our function f of x is equal to 3x minus 4. So I'm going to write this right here because that's what f of x is. And I'm going to replace it into my function g. So I'm replacing x with 3x minus 4. And my function g is x squared, so I'm going to replace it with 3x minus 4. That's the value of x, and then squared, because that's the function g of x. If I do this, remember that means that I'm multiplying 3x minus 4 by 3x minus 4. And so one way you could solve this is by using our box method with the area model, where you have the first term 3x minus 4, and then on the side we also have 3x minus 4 for the second binomial. So if I multiply these first two terms in this box, 3x times 3x, that is 9x squared. We then multiply 3x times negative 4, which is negative 12x. Again, we do negative 4 times 3x, negative 12x. And then negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Just a reminder that we add the two terms that are across from one another. And so we will have our result when we multiply 9x squared. Negative 12x plus negative 12x is negative 24x plus 16. So this is my function g f of x. Let's look at another example together, where we now have our function g of x. G of x equals 4x minus 1. And then h of x is equal to x squared plus x minus 2. So in our first case, we see is h of x. H of x is equal to x squared plus x minus 2. So I'm going to end up using that function and replacing it into my function g. Okay. And what is g? G is 4x minus 1. So wherever I see my x, I'm going to replace it with x squared plus x minus 2, and then continue with minus 1. So we're going to use the distributive property in this case. We multiply, we have 4x squared. 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times negative 2 is minus 8. Minus 1. Combining terms, negative 8 and negative 1, we have minus 9. So there is our composition g h of x. Now we have h of g of x. So in this case, we start with our function g of x. G of x is equal to 4x minus 1. So into our h, we're going to put the function 4x minus 1. So we're going to replace all our x's with 4x minus 1. So I have 4x minus 1 squared plus 4x minus 1 minus 2. Now with the 4x minus 1, remember we do the box method, where we have 4x minus 2. Oh, it's actually minus 1. I do apologize. Minus 1. And then 4x minus 1. So if you multiply 4x times 4x, that is 16x squared. 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x. 4x times negative 1, negative 4x. Negative 1 times negative 1, positive 1. So we rewrite this as 16x squared. Remember, we have the negative 4x, and negative 4x is negative 8x plus 1. Bring down, that was the first part, bring down the plus 4x minus 1 minus 2. Combine like terms, 16x squared stays out in front. I'm able to combine my like terms, negative 8x with positive 4x, which is negative 4x. And then we also do positive 1 minus 2. So at the end we have minus 2. And this is our function h of g of x. Just to make a quick note, some students end up, well, what happens to h of 4x minus 1? Remember, that is just what you're replacing your x with. Okay? Any questions, please send an email.